Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make a fast and easy banana nut bread. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make this. There's really not a lot of ingredients. This is an easy thing to do. It really is a great tasting banana nut bread with very little effort. So you're going to need to preheat your oven to 325 degrees. We want this warm before we actually get this into the oven. And you want to make sure that if you're using your bananas, they are not just ripe bananas. You want some bananas that have been around for a minute, because there's something about the older banana that gives it the better taste when you mix this up. It's just what it is. They've had time to ripen, they've had time to get flavor in them. They're probably one of those ones where, you know, the banana's kind of not going to have much life left in it. But this is probably one of those things where people use this recipe just to get rid of bananas in their kitchen. And the best thing about it is it has the best flavor when you mix this up. And there's so little effort because you can make this literally putting everything together in less than 5 minutes. And then once it's baked, you got something great to eat. So we're going to start out with a large bowl, which we have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and we're adding 1 teaspoon of baking soda to it. We just want to mix this up to make sure that everything is distributed on that baking soda. And then we're going to move on to another bowl, which we are peeling our 3 bananas and putting in it. Now, as I said, make sure they're older. We're not talking ones that are so rotten you don't want to eat them, but we are talking ones that are browning on the skin on the outside of it. And we're going to get all 3 of these in there. And once they're in, we're going to mash them up because we want them a little bit easier to deal with, a little bit better to mix. Now, mind you, when you're going to mash them and you go to add these into the other mix, if it's a little lumpy, it doesn't really matter because it's going to cook in. It's just what it is. So I used a potato masher, and basically I'm just going to mash these until they're totally pulverized and they're ready and usable. The more you go at this, the more they're going to mush, the more they're going to turn into, you know, kind of like a doughy consistency. We're just trying to break these up into little bits here so that way it's easier to use. So go ahead and keep mixing them and keep pushing this around until you get it all chopped up. And then we're going to add other ingredients to this once we get them completely mashed down. So as you can see, mine are ready here. So we're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of melted butter, and then we're going to put in 1 large egg. And once we get this in, we're going to start mixing this up. And you can do this by hand or with a mixer, whatever. I choose to do it by hand. These things do not have to be totally like mixed up thoroughly, like, you know, there's going to be some chunks of banana in this, and that's totally fine because I kind of like it that way. But when you bake it, it'll be fine. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients into what we just mixed up and go ahead and mix this again, so that way they start to incorporate. Now we do have 1 more ingredient left, but we're not putting it in yet until this is completely mixed up. And the last thing we're going to add in is 1 teaspoon of salt. But you need to mix up your whole mix first and then bring in the 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to get that in there, mix it up. And if you have not preheated your oven, it needs to be at 325 degrees. Now we're going to use a loaf pan. I have this one that I got from my grandma. It's a 9x5, and you're going to use some nonstick cooking spray just to make sure this doesn't set up shop on it. And then pour in all the ingredients that you mixed into your bowl. And we're going to go ahead and just like spread this out evenly in here and get it ready to roll. Now we do have something else we're going to do to this in a second. We are going to need some walnuts. So if you haven't gotten them out already, you're going to need at least 1/4 cup of these. So go ahead and scrape out your bowl, get as much as we can into our baking dish, because we don't want to leave any of it behind. We don't want to waste anything we work to make here. And then make sure that your top is smooth when you're putting this in, because we want to just make sure that there are no like really tall parts in anything or any big ridges. We just want to make it as smooth as possible because we are going to put the nuts over top. Now once this is all smoothed out, you can come in here with your nuts and spread them pretty evenly across the top of it. Now when this starts to bake up, these nuts are going to move around a bit. That's okay, that's fine. Just make sure you've kind of got them all the way across the top and down the side, so that way they have an even chance to cover what you're baking. Now when this goes into the oven, it's going to be in there for at least probably an hour, and you can use a toothpick to test it to see if it's completely done when you're ready. And when it comes back from your oven, it will look something like this. And this has such an amazing taste for so little effort, so it's really a wonderful thing. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.